What is good, YouTube? Quinn Wade basketball analysis. Back to y'all with a quick video. We're going to talk about John Collins going to Boston. This is something that I had to make a video on because John Collins is a guy that doesn't want to take a pay cut. He feels like he's worth more money than what the Hawks have offered him, and he feels like he can go to another team and get paid big dollars. And John Collins was a guy that was a 20 and 10 player, and that's just not the case this year. Still a liability defensively, hasn't been a great defender his entire career, and that hasn't changed. Is an interesting offensive guy because he is versatile and can do a lot of things well. Um, Honestly, I have been a believer in John Collins, and his work ethic and his growth has been pretty consistent. This year and last year was a little bit of a step back because of the suspension and obviously not being as dominant as he was before. I did think the numbers was going to take a hit from Trae Young and John Collins just because they have more talent than they have had the last couple years together. And if you have more talent and you have more guys that can do things on your own, the less you have to do, the less it requires you to do, because they will make up that difference. And that's a sacrifice that the Hawks had to make when I looked at this team, and they have been exactly what I thought. They haven't been a great defensive team. They have been a tough offensive team when they're making shots. You know, Gallo and Bojan and guys like Cam Reddish and them are making shots. They're a tough team because they are big. They do have mobility. They do have guys that can create their own shot from time to time, and they do have guys that can make threes, and they are guys that can cover a lot of ground. So this Atlanta team has been amazing for what they was built on. They had signed a lot of guys and brought a lot of guys in, but a lot of these guys didn't really fix the issues that they have had, which was obviously the defensive end. And they upgraded the talent, but they didn't really upgrade majority of their problems. And I don't really have a problem with them trying to get rid of John Collins because I do look at this team. What are they trying to do? And getting rid of John Collins won't answer all their questions, but John Collins and Trae Young as a duo is only going to lead you to a first round exit. So when they acquired majority of this talent to build around that duo, I knew that they had a ceiling, and I still believe that. Even though I do love what Trae Young is about, and I do love the way he plays for what he is as a small guard, he has been one of the best offensive players in the league. The problem is, where's this team headed? And if you're going to pay Trae Young the max and you're going to pay John Collins the max or something close, what is this team? Because right now, even though they had a lot of injuries and they haven't been able to play their lineups that they want to get out, this team still does go as far as Hunter and guys like Cam Reddish develop, because they're going to have to pay these guys too. And a lot of these veterans will be going within 1 to 2 years, and they will have to go as far as they take them. I really believe that trading down and get Trae Young and Cam Reddish was the deal that they made to get rid of Luka. Like, they had Luka right there, and they went with Trae Young. And Trae Young has been an all-star and one of the best players in the league for his position, especially. But Cam Reddish still doesn't look like a guy that can be a superstar, and that was the risk that they took, taking a lottery pick and a guy that had the upside and the athleticism and the body, but hasn't really developed the fundamentals and the skills and the IQ that is required to be a superstar. And that's what they ended up losing. I don't look at it like Trae Young is not better than Luka. Cam Reddish hasn't even showed that he can be a legitimate starter in this league right now. And you still do have a couple more years and to see how this plays out and to see how these guys become better. But right now, it does look like a bad deal because Trae Young wasn't even an all-star this year. And it does make you question, how far can Trae Young take this team as the franchise guy? And if you're going to be paying John Collins 90 to 100+ million, and you're paying Trae Young the max, and you're a 6 seed at best for the next 3 to 4 years, you're stuck. And that's why I think you have to get rid of one of them, because you're going to have to pay Collins. You might not want to pay him the max, but even if you pay him a little bit more than what they were trying to give him, this team is not good enough. Like they have to make another move, and I said that even in free agency, like this team at best is a seventh or eighth seed, and that's basically what they have been this entire season. Either they have been a play-in team or around that 7th to 8th spot, and they don't really have too much room to get better unless they find a way to reconstruct this roster, as they have amassed a lot of talent. And that's what they're going to have to figure out because people jobs is on the line for this. This was a huge move that we all going to be talking about for years because it does matter because Luka has shown that he can lead the team to the playoffs because he did it last year and they're in the playoff spot this year. And the Mavericks are a piece away from being a legitimate contender, and I can't say the same for the Atlanta Hawks, depending on what the piece is. And the reason is I don't look at Trae Young as a guy that can be the number one option on a championship team. I don't. I just don't see it. And you can say the same thing about Nash. You can say a little bit about Curry because he wasn't really dominant in the playoffs majority of the time. And even though he did help the team get to the finals, he did have Clay and he did have Draymond, and those guys was great construction players around him. And that's what I always say. You do need to figure out what you do need for your superstar. Every team is different. Every superstar is different. And you have to think about those things when you're drafting them and when you're making those type of moves. Because the goal at the end of the day is to draft one of these guys and build a team that can contend for titles. And that's going to be the biggest question for this Hawks team is how can we put Trae Young in positions and put the talent around him since this is their guy to win a title? Because once you're rebuilding and you want to speed it up a little bit, and they have done that already within 2 years, now it's just about how can they get over the hump from being a playoff team to a championship team. And honestly, they're far away from that right now. And I don't really see an easy answer because who is out there that can do that? It's not one player that's available the last 2 years outside of Anthony Davis that could have took this team to another level because he is a significant upgrade over John Collins and he is a great defender too while being a perfect complementary player. So he's out. He's not on the table. And the best part for the Hawks, and I said this in free agency because everything I said basically came to fruition with this team so far this season, is you might have to trade Cam Reddish. You might have to trade DeAndre Hunter. You might have to trade some of these young guys and some picks to get that superstar to put with Trae Young. Because honestly, John Collins isn't it, and they have shown that already that them as a tandem is not enough. And even if it is, it's not enough to get you to a title. And if you're going to pay John Collins and Trae Young, who is going to be that third guy that complements them and play well off of them to take you to that title contention? Will it be Hunter? Will it be Reddish? But as of right now, those two guys are nowhere near where they need to be a significant difference maker when it comes to winning titles. And maybe 2 years they can be, or maybe they never do, or maybe they become the pieces that you need to get that guy, like I said before, and also in the offseason. And so far, everything that I said in that video has come to fruition, and that's amazing. But other than that, if I'm the Celtics, to be honest, the whole point of this video, I wouldn't be interested. I don't think John Collins fixes any of their problems. I do think that, he does slide Green to the guard. He does slide Tatum to the small forward. He does slide Kemba at the point, and he does fit well when it comes to position. But other than that, John Collins wants to prove himself. John Collins thinks highly of himself. He's confident in his game. You don't really need that because we know what Jaylen Brown can do. They all stars already as a duo, and John Collins hasn't been that. And if you do bring them, that will be one of his goals. You do need guys that know their role. You do need guys that play their role, and you ultimately don't have the cap, honestly, to make this move because this move doesn't put the Celtics over the hump because they would have to give up something significant for the Hawks to even consider trading Collins. They're not just going to give him up for nothing because he is an asset. And even if they do, you're going to have to pay this man big money. And you already did that with Kimba, and you already did that with Brown, and you already did that with Tatum, who will be kicking in. And you'll be stuck if that team isn't a title contender. Now, you can say, well, you can trade Kimba for Collins and just start smart, but still, will that be the piece that they need to beat the Nets? Will that be enough to beat the Lakers? And the reason why I ask that is because once you pay Collins this summer, if you trade for him, that's your team. That's the team you have, and you just gonna have to hope it fits. Hope that they play well together, and just hope that Jaylen Brown and Jason Tatum can continue to grow and develop and become even better in the future. And it makes sense on that angle, but other than that, I don't really see a reality of that trade actually happened. I don't see why the Celtics would be interested, and I don't see why Danny Ainge will pull the trigger unless he's just giving up nothing. But even if you don't give up much, it's going to hit you contract wise because this man turned down 90 plus million, and that means he want more money. So I don't think we're in a position to pay John Collins 100 plus million. And if we is, he's not the $100 million player that I would want alongside Brown and Tatum. Other than that, check out the Facebook page. Check out the website. That will be in the description in the comment section below. Like to show support. Subscribe like y'all been doing. And on top of that, if you want to buy merchandise, it's on my Facebook page. It's on my spread shirt. And other than that, Quinn Wade basketball analysis coming to y'all with that analysis again. Hopefully you guys enjoy y'all day. And that's about it. Quinn Wade signing out.